Welcome, Taurus and Taurus cross watchers, to your reading. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. And of course, thank you for stopping by my channel today. Oh. So we have the Eight of Wands first out here, with the Queen of Swords. Taurus, is somebody back on their BS, or are you expecting that to happen? It almost feels like someone's running interference here. You know what it kind of feels like? It's almost like somebody moved and everyone's inside trying to get unpacked, but there's someone at the door. And I feel like you've gone to the door to be like, yes, can I help you? And that person's trying to be nosy and look in the thing. And I feel like, and that's when you step outside on the porch, you're like, can I help you? Is there something, like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? It just feels like you're busy and someone, okay, from your perspective, someone is about to waste your time. Holy. So we have the Eight of Swords with the Ten of Swords. Okay, so number one, you have no time for anyone's BS. 100%. And it's like, it's very matter of fact. I also feel like there's, hold on. I feel like you have a lot on your mind. A lot. It kind of feels like recently there's been this like big sweeping change in your life. Like maybe you've moved and switched jobs and a relationship fell apart or started. And there was some family trouble. Maybe somebody, I mean, I certainly hope not, but maybe somebody passed. Like it just feels like it's been one thing after another. And it's like, and this poor person, you know, knocking on your door, not that you're going to be rude to them, but, you know, it feels like the type of energy that if they're back on that street knocking on people's doors, they'll see your house and like they're not even going to open the gate to come in. Again, it doesn't feel like you're, you know, overly rude or that you even get loud with this person. It's just there's something about your energy that makes them not want to come back. It's almost this feeling of you've done too much for too long to kind of let somebody else, I want to say, like, muck up your life now. Like, to deal with this nonsense is what I'm hearing. There also seems to be this energy of whatever you've been through recently, which was obviously difficult. Excuse me, not that it's made you bulletproof or, you know, but it's made you feel like almost like Taurus has already been through what they've been through. Like I've already been through what I've been through is what you're saying. You know, feeling like there isn't really much people can do at this point to get to you. You know what I mean? Feeling kind of like unshakable. It's that bull energy coming out. Not like a bull in a china shop, but just a very like, not menacing, but very dominant. It feels, and it's, for people who are maybe quite timid, you may even seem, it's almost like you have resting bee face sort of thing. And I feel like that may be intimidating to some individuals that are very timid. To you, it's like it's nothing to you. Sorry, there's a freaking mosquito in my ear. It's nothing to you, and there isn't, like, if someone was doing it to you, it wouldn't bother you. But it does seem to hit with, you know, somebody. I do feel that there has been an ending recently that it carries a lot of weight with it. See, there it just flew over my table. Like, just go outside. Sorry. I feel like there is this thing here, um, that like you've let it go, but there still is a heavy, like when you think about it, it makes your whole body feel heavy. Like every time you want to pick up your feet, it feels like, you're wearing, iron boots or something like that. Um, it doesn't necessarily feel that way when you're kind of dealing with whoever this person is that's knocking on the door, but when you think about whatever that loss is, that heavy feeling comes in, and it's like you kind of square your jaw, you know, put your head up, square your shoulders back, and you keep going. But it is there. You've already made the decision to push through that, so that's not up for debate. Um, but this, like, there's a lot of sadness there still. What does Taurus need to know? So what the question was, I can feel that there's something unknown here. So what do you need to know that's unknown about the past? And then of course we do have the Sun card with the Ace of Cups at the bottom of it. And then the Nine of Swords. You've been through it, okay? Anyway, I feel like there's this message that the heaviness that's surrounding you, maybe you're not in an energy where like feeling that you'll never be happy again. You may not. That's not the point here. The point is, it almost feels like the happiness that you may have experienced as a child or, when you were younger, almost like an innocent happiness. It's like something in you is missing, right? And it's like it's not happiness, it's not joy, it's not, there's something that's missing. Hold on for a second. I'm hearing some of you say, like, I know it's missing. I need to know what it is. Working on it. Hold on for a second here. What I'm seeing, okay, you might not want to hear this, is that the missing element, um, it's almost like you feel like it's not time to rest. It's not time to be happy. I feel like you are being okay. Um, it actually feels like you are being extraordinarily demanding of yourself. It's like in this energy where when you feel that heaviness, like you square your shoulders and you get to work, um, which of course is great. From what I'm seeing, that coping mechanism may have put you in an energy where it's almost like you just kind of shut down to a certain extent when you feel that heaviness, when you feel that sadness. It's almost like you cause yourself to feel nothing at all except for hardness. And it's almost like you've forgotten what happy felt like. And I feel like there's times where it's like you wonder, like, am I ever going to get that back? Hold on. I feel like sometimes you feel that there's irreparable damage that's been done. That there are certain things that, like, you'll come back from, but the lasting effect of that hurt or that pain that was caused, that it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's almost like you have so much going on that you're staying on top of right now, that I feel like you don't have a whole lot of time to dwell on it, but when you think about it, it's almost like, um, am I going to down the road regret what I'm doing now? Um, it's like because you're not open. And I want to say, like, if you haven't been open because that's how you've been able to cope with an incredibly difficult situation, then, like, that's how you've been able to cope. You still, I feel like the key phrase there is that, like, you still coped with it. You know, you didn't give up. You didn't just kind of throw everything to the side and let everything fall apart. When you go through what you went through and you require yourself to keep pushing, something kind of has to give. Like at some point that pain needs to be processed, right? And I feel like, not that you're not processing it, but um, that energy has to go somewhere. So, um, I feel like there's a loss of innocence here. It's almost like feeling that you will not feel that like happy, giddy feeling again. You know, at like the beginning of a relationship when you're kind of like giggling about them, when you talk about them and it's a bit giddy, like it's when you first fall in love with someone. It's that type of an energy. For those of you that don't get giddy, it's just it may not be the actual situation, it's just to describe the energy. So, yeah, I think we're going to get another card on this. I'm not sure I'm pulling out all the messages. I'm sorry if it's not really. Okay. So we have the Wheel of Fortune with the Nine of Swords reversed and Nine of Cups upright on top of this Sun. I mean, obviously, you know, if something really challenging happened, somebody got screwed over. It feels like you are hell-bent and determined on whatever happened not holding you back in the long run. It just kind of feels like it's almost like something fell apart in your hands, right? It's kind of like you're sitting here with this figurine from when you were young and you're just kind of admiring it. And it's like, and all of a sudden it starts to turn black and turn into dust in your hand. You know, if you've seen the Marvel movies, it's like when he snapped his finger and people turned into dust. It's like it's the same thing happened, but it's almost like you had to watch it deteriorate before it turned to dust. So it's that kind of a thing, right? And I feel like um, it's almost like you wish that you could get back to a simpler time, but it's so far away from you now um, that it's like even if you had the opportunity to go back, you wouldn't. I feel like that's the message. I feel like that's a release. Like realizing that if you were presented with that, you know, if there was an open door and you could walk back into that opportunity and start fresh from that point, um, from what I'm seeing, I don't think that you would want to go back. You wouldn't want to do it over. There wouldn't be a whole bunch of different decisions or this or that. I feel like where you are or where you're headed is exactly where you want to be. Not that it's perfect, of course, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and it's like you wouldn't want it to be any other way. And I feel like that seems to almost take the edge off from being quite so demanding of yourself. So we are going to pull a couple of cards here and then I will wrap up the reading. Can we get what's coming Taurus's way? Oh, it's way to Taurus. So we have the Two of Wands. I feel like somebody here is going to be so the Two of Wands usually talks about like having to make a decision, and in the regular deck it's someone that's kind of offering somebody else the world. I feel like you are going to be meeting people along the way that are going to be at various healing stages of experiences that you've had, right? So it's like you might meet someone in the near future that is going through what you went through 6 months ago, right? And it's almost like the very matter of fact way that you're able to break it down for them, or be like, oh yeah, that happened and this is how I did it. For some of you, it might not even be that you get that close to this person. It could just be that you're kind of observing how they're handling it. And I feel like you are able to really appreciate how you handled it, because it's like however this person is handling it, I feel like you're pretty grateful for the fact that you did it differently. It's like however you conducted yourself, you're really glad that that's what you did, as opposed to that's what somebody else, that I feel like in seeing that same situation really break somebody down, um, it's almost like it takes you a little while to wrap your head around the fact that it didn't do that to you, or at least you didn't let it. Um, I feel like it feels like it might not be just one person. It feels like it's going to be, a few different people or a few different situations where you're able to see yourself through other people's eyes, or at least you're able to understand how you may have looked through other people's eyes. If people were telling you, like, please slow down and make sure you're, taking care of yourself, you don't have to be so hard on yourself, that sort of thing. If they were saying those things, and it's almost like them, when they said it, it didn't even make sense to you. Like, what are you even talking about? Seeing other people handle similar situations, I feel like that kind of brings it into perspective, where you realize that it wasn't people kind of like questioning your capabilities. Maybe you thought that, maybe you didn't, but it wasn't people questioning what you're capable of doing. It was that people saw you doing a lot more than the average person, and they were worried about you burning out. It was coming from a place of like care and concern, and maybe you knew that, but now you understand it. So I just want to bring this up. Bottom of the deck, we do have the King of Swords, Queen of Cups, and we have the King of Swords and the Queen of Cups on the bottom here. And we have the Queen of Swords as you. I'm going to be honest here, Taurus. If you are not involved with anyone right now, I don't see you being open to it just yet. Like if somebody kind of wants to come and run alongside you, great. But it doesn't really, from what I'm seeing, it doesn't feel like you're searching for it right now. Maybe that's not even the right word. It's almost like it's not on your radar. You're so goal oriented and goal focused and like pushing through whatever you're pushing through, that adding new elements in it's just not on your radar. So can we get any advice? I was going to say advice or something to work on. We have the Five of Pentacles with the Justice and the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Like, man, this is rough. So the Five of Pentacles, of course, talks about being left out in the cold. And then the Justice card talks about, that's when things come into balance. That's when, I almost want to say, like, that's the Libra card, right? And Libra likes things to be copacetic. They like balance to come in, and they like to, for the most part, right? Libras like to be around people. And I feel like, hold on for a second. It's almost like this is the transition of the energy that you're going through, right? I know it's kind of dark, so I'll try to tilt them up. You were in a really tough spot. I feel like there were moments of weakness for you in terms of like feeling, really upset and really, I feel like you don't want to admit to yourself that there were moments in the healing process where you felt defeated. It doesn't felt like that feeling stuck around. I mean, obviously it didn't. Um, but it almost feels like it's something that you may feel like you don't want to share it because you're kind of ashamed of it. You're ashamed that you couldn't handle it. And I feel like I'm just going to ask you a question instead of stating something. Like having a moment of weakness and feeling defeated isn't the same thing as being defeated, right? It's, I feel like there's times where like we're down but not out. And I feel like you want to be so resilient that people can't ever even take you down. And I feel like is that a realistic expectation when you are living in a world with other people? Um, so let me rephrase that. I don't know how to say this. I'm not really sure that you're kind of ready to hear that message. Doesn't feel like it's being received. And I'm trying to find a different way to explain it. Okay. So getting to a place where you feel defeated, not that you are, but that you feel that kind of like F. You know what I mean? Like F, that was hard. Like, like it's almost like saying like, oh, you know what? It didn't take me down, didn't take me out, but like, damn, it almost did. If it had kept going, I might have been overcome. Um, and I feel like situations like that only sharpen your and like strengthen your resolve to not let that happen. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like I could say like, oh, it's the natural process of life. That's just kind of, it's how life goes. Um, that's my own personal opinion. Of course, you don't have to take it. It just feels like you're just not really looking to dwell on that anymore. It's almost like tell me about the new. Tell me about the new. I don't, it feels like you may be kind of surrounded by all this garbage, but it's almost like it's in a bubble around you. It's like people will like jump from a really high height and they land on those big, inflatable squares kind of, right? It's almost like you landed on that square, so you were surrounded by it, but it's like you're on the bounce back up and you're going to bounce back on your feet. So like you might be surrounded by those things, but you're not engulfed in them, and it's like and you're already on the bounce back out. So I feel like there's this message where there may be times um that you struggle with the everything that's been going on. Um and I mean obviously you're rising above the situation. Hold on for a second. It's almost like I'm not telling you what to do, okay? This is just how I'm going to describe it. There's nothing wrong with having been, you know, that's not the right way to say it. If at any time you are comfortable enough or you choose to share some of those weaker, okay, in quotes, because we're not going to get into that, but I just don't want to go on like a big diatribe and hop up on my soapbox, right? So when someone like you is able to admit to someone going through a really tough time for them, how you felt, how defeated you felt in the moment, and then how you came back, that's inspirational. That's what makes people be like, maybe I'll make it too. Maybe I'll survive this too. And that doesn't mean that you have to share your stuff with everybody or you owe anybody that explanation. But those moments of weakness or feeling defeated, it's not actually a weakness. It is a strength because you're able to say, going back to what the cards were saying, that like, you're not, maybe you're not bulletproof, but you feel that way. You feel that way because you know how far down you can be pushed and it still isn't going to stop you. So I love you, Taurus. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Normally I do the like diatribe about all that other stuff and what's coming up, but I don't want to do that right now. So I love you guys. I hope you have a good day, and I'll be thinking of you. Much love. Bye.